Hello, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Happy Sunday to all of you. This is Christina with the Mamathon Diaries, your productivity coach, here tonight for a a talk on how to set your week off right. Okay. If you are anything like me, you've still been moving today, even though it's a Sunday. We, of course, had worship and came home, and uh, I've been somebody's mama all evening and somebody's wife and worked on dinner. I still have on my actual church clothes. Like, I wore a blazer over this tee, but I still have on my actual church clothes from earlier. Like, I've been moving just that much. And so this evening, I'm just excited to do a little check-in with you guys and help provide some positive notations as you are prepping for your week ahead. Okay. Really quickly, do me a favor, tell me where you're watching from. It's been a while since we did a little bit of a roll call with our community, but we just want to take time and know who you are. We want to know more about your family. We want to engage with you and just find out the best ways that we can support you as a community and myself in terms of the content that we provide for you guys as well. Okay. Good evening. Hey, everybody. Um, so tonight we are talking about how to prep for a successful week and the choices we need to make. Okay. I would not be a phenomenal coach if I did not remind you that we are just under 3 weeks away from the seventh Mamathon conference. Somebody asked me a few days ago, they said, how long have you been doing this? And I was like, listen, we're going into the seventh year. Like, for me, that is incredulous. That is unbelievable that we've even been holding on to the thematics and the focus and the mission of this community. And what's most exciting for me is that it's only getting better. It's only getting better. So it's my hope that you will be joining us in Atlanta this October 28th through the 30th. If you can only get away for a single day, come Saturday, stay over till Sunday. If you're on a budget, get a different hotel. But we want you to come and join us for the experience, okay? We are all things womanhood, self-care, loving God, growing your business, taking care of your marriage. If you're single, we got classes for the ladies who are waiting on Boaz and them to show up, okay? We're here to meet you where you are and to really speak to how you're functioning as a woman right now. One of sisters that's coming, she reached out. She said, listen, I've been to a lot of women's conferences. She said, I've been to a lot of them. She said, I got questions because, I need to know that it's going to meet me where I am right now, which is as a woman, as a wife, as a mom, as a business owner. It was so multifaceted. She said, listen, I need a different level of support. And that's what we are here for, to provide the different level of support. Let's just be honest. Everybody does not have this journey. Everybody does not have the road that you yourself are walking. Everybody doesn't have the same hurdles to climb over as we do being women with families, women who are balancing our real lives. Like, there are multiple facets to this that need to be organized. So a lot of times that aspect gets left out, and you go to an event that tells you how to grow your business, but it doesn't tell you how to delegate better. Or you go to a conference that tells you how to love God better, which we need to do, right? But it doesn't say, okay, this is how I need to use that love to communicate to my spouse better, to my children better. And so it is our mission that this Mamathon conference weekend, as we go into our workshops on Saturday, baby, we're going to make your brains burn. We're going to do boom, boom, boom power sessions back to back, because what we want to do is meet all of these amazing areas: your self-care, your wellness, your balancing as a family woman, your branding, going for the promotion, all of these things. And I'm going to be there, of course, in living color, to provide hot seat coaching at the end of the afternoon. As long as you guys come, hang out, stay, I'm going to be right there as well, answering your questions and just meeting you where you are. Okay. Meeting you where you are. And so I'm excited, like beyond thrilled to see all of you guys in living color. I'm excited to connect. I want to say 75% of the women who are attending this year are brand new to the conference. And I was like, this is incredible. Like, just the idea that things are growing, because it's our mission to meet you where you are. It's our mission to take the overwhelm that you're feeling when some things are spilling out all over the place. It is our goal this year more than ever to meet you where you are as a multitasking supermom, as a multitasking ambitious woman. All of us have heavy plates, right? Good evening. All of us have a lot on our plate, but the question is, where do I go to figure out how to organize all of it, how to move all of it into something that is powerful and intentional and strategic? Okay. And so that's the mission of the conference. We're excited to see you guys in Atlanta this year. We're excited to help you reach your goals in a new way, to stretch forward in some new ways. And so all of this is here to help you meet you where you are. It's here to help you excel and grow and focus and gain clarity and brainstorm. That's what this community is here for. That's what I as a coach am here for. And the conference is a time for us to celebrate how far we've come, and then a time to set into place a plan that's going to take us to the next level. Okay. And so if you're available and you're willing, October 28th through the 30th, we're going to be meeting in Atlanta at the Renaissance by the Atlanta airport. Pull up. Okay. If you're serious about handling business, if you're serious about balancing your family well, if you're serious about thinking about where it is that you want to go, then this is the event for you. Okay. It's planned with your busy life in mind. It's planned with your life in mind. Okay. So that being said, slide in my DMs if that's you. And then we're going to get to our topic for the night. Hi, Tracy. We're going to get to our topic for the night, which is preparing for a successful week ahead. There have been times where every Sunday night I was live. I haven't been as much. They're kind of, sort of, sometimes and sometimes not. We're working on doing so on more religious basis. Sometimes I do it on Sunday. Sometimes I do it on Monday, because Monday is still the start of the week. Okay. But we want to talk about 3 choices tonight that we need to make in order to exponentially shift how our week is going to go. Okay. How our week is going to go. I want y'all to know that every single one of these I am implementing myself right now. These 3 choices that I'm going to tell you to make tonight, I'm implementing myself. Okay. These are things where as I thought about what I was going to share this evening, I realized, I said, wait a second, we cannot play about how we're handling stuff this week. There's a lot riding on how we show up. There's a lot riding on our consistency. There's a lot riding on our mental clarity, our tenacity, our level of focus. And so what we want to do instead is propel you forward by laying these things out for you, okay? So number 1 choice that you need to make, you get to choose your responses. The first thing you get to choose your responses. Now, there's going to be a myriad of opportunities that are going to come to you this week, okay? First, when we think about choosing our responses, we might be inclined to think about, hey, somebody said something to me and I'm responding in this way. And I get to choose if I respond with the attitude or if I respond with peace or all these things. Those are choices that you get to make. But I want to go another level deeper with that and say that I get to choose what I say yes to and what I decline. I get to choose my emotional state as people come to me with things. I get to choose where my schedule goes. Is it going to run rampant, or am I going to keep it contained? Am I going to keep things flowing in the way I want to? I get to choose my response. There are some weeks where I might get extra busy with work or, conference planning now and just so many things. And I will not be as on in other parts of my life than I am focused on this one particular facet. Okay. So if I'm not focused on certain things, there may be days where my kids don't do the things that they normally should when my mind is on and focused. Okay. There might be days where I'm like, okay, we're going, and they don't have their assignments like they need to, or I didn't check certain things, or I didn't come back behind them and make sure that they did all their chores like they need to. Things like this. I get to choose my responses. Hey, everyone, good evening. I get to choose how I reply. I get to choose my emotional state. These are things I'm allowed to elect. These are things I'm allowed to choose, right? So if we are lining ourselves up for a successful week, what choices are you going to make? How are you going to respond? Are you going to make sure that things are flowing in the right way? And then if they aren't flowing in the right way, good evening. If they're not flowing in the right way, how are you going to handle it? If it's not going the right way, what do you do next? If things are going haywire, one of my clients, she said, when we first started working together, one of the things that she said out loud, she said, listen, my family life is going haywire right now. She said, but I feel like it's my fault. She said, I feel like I'm the person that's responsible for these things coming together. And I said, well, ownership is the first thing that we need to do. Taking responsibility is the first thing we need to do if we are actually going to make progress like we want to. I need to work on my responses. Okay, so my kids aren't doing the things that I need them to do. What part do I play in this? Okay, so my spouse, our communication is off. What part do I play in this? It's not always somebody else's fault. And what we do a lot of times, we have these responses, but we know we have not submitted these thoughts, these plans, these emotions to God first to be the filter. And then next, through the lens of, am I responsible? Or what am I responsible for? Our flesh innately, our normal human nature always sees ourselves as the person who did no wrong, and everybody else is the person provoking me to behave this way or respond this way or have this emotional I want to say revenge, but y'all know how we act. Y'all know how we act. Well, what we do instead is we will focus our energy on everybody else, focus our energy on everything else that we are not responsible for. So I've had one of my kids, they'll hit their foot on the door, right? They'll hit their foot on the door and they'll be mad at the door. And I would have to just give the pause. I would have to give the shift in thought pattern and say, can the door move? Hiya, Tanya. Does the door move? This is an inanimate object that we are now upset and offended at. Simultaneously, we can be upset and offended at non-inanimate objects, right? But those who do not have the same level of emotional maturity as maybe we're working on having. Maybe we don't have it yet, but we're working on it. And so as we are creating our strategy for the week, I got to ask myself, am I willing to make a choice about the responses I have? Am I willing to say thank you, but no thank you? Am I willing to choose the activities that I engage in, choose what my business does, choose the kind of coaching clients that I'm taking on right now? Because that's where we're going. It's like, okay, thank you for inquiring about coaching support, but right now that's not that's not the type of client that we're most synergistic with. And being okay with that. What emotions, what choices will you make in regard to your responses? I'm really working on how I communicate with my kids, right? With how if they say certain things and I already don't want to be bothered, which is me 70 times. I'm like, can we just be like without talking? Can we just be? That's me as a person, right? I'm trying not to be that person. So anyway, working on my responses to be more patient, more endearing, right? When they have questions, just answering the question, looking at them and taking these deep breaths and looking to see what are the edits that I need to make as a person, as a mom, to make sure that I'm meeting the needs. So Tanya says, this happens in my home so often. Baby girl wants to take out the sofa, the door, everything. Listen, these kids. It's like, baby, you can't be mad at it. Doesn't move. It was you. My 4-year-old would be mad at he will run into the wall and then be mad at the wall. But how much better are we than our kids sometimes? How much better are we than our children sometimes? Where things don't go our way, you knew there was going to be traffic. You knew your kids always have something due. You know that your husband always has this need. The fact that you're off kilter is not everybody else, it's you. Taking ownership, choosing the response that I'm going to have to my life circumstances this week. I'm going to make the choice, okay? Number 2, I get to choose my results. I get to choose my results. Now, this is a little coachy, if you guys will go with me on this. The ability to see a particular situation or circumstance and pivot from what I see into a different choice. This starts in the mind first with what we believe, what we rehearse in our minds over and over again, how we intentionally enable ourselves. We'll tell ourselves mostly negative thoughts and only a few positive ones. And it takes, rehearsing over and over and over again to tell myself something that's positive, to tell myself something that reminds me I'm capable of having a different result. Sometimes we start to walk down a road. Have you ever started driving and you realize, okay, I'm on the wrong street, right? But what are you able to do? At any point in time, you are able to change directions, turn around, and go a different way. You're allowed to go a different way. You are not pinned to or required to continue going down the same road. So what happens so often, we see something coming to us, we see a certain result, but we don't turn around. We don't begin to implement corrective actions to give us different results. We just keep going the same way. And then we get frustrated when the outcome becomes something that we did not desire, nor do we put any action in to change it. So the question is, how are we going to make the necessary changes to get different results? What are we going to move? How are we going to change trajectories? How are we going to go a different way? Because I get to choose. For example, if you know that you've always wanted to be a nurse, but you got to go through a certain program, if you continue on what they call your default future, walking the road, traveling on autopilot, right? If you don't do anything drastic to move from that place, you're going to keep on going the same way. You're going to keep having the same results, but it takes an intentional decision. It takes an intentional decision to change directions. It takes intentional goal setting to change directions. It takes intentional action to go a different way. And so many times we see results that are coming to us that have happened over and over again. And then as a result of that, we don't do any corrective action. We just keep coasting. We keep going the same way, doing the same thing, hoping for something else to happen. Hoping that something probably inanimate, something outside of our control is going to pop up, come on the scene to change things instead of us having to make the choice to change it. Okay? So we need to make sure that as we are seeking, as we're walking forward, as we're trusting God, okay, Lord, this is what I see happening. And if I don't make any changes, this is definitely going to be the result. If I don't make any changes, this is absolutely going to happen. So that means I need to make some intentional moves to get a different outcome. Now, there are times when you make the moves and the outcome is just still not what you wanted, but I promise you, strong strategic decision making will get you closer to the ideal outcome than if you hadn't. If you had stayed on autopilot, if you continue resting and just hoping for something different. One thing that has been challenging for me as a coach, right, it's not challenging for me as a coach, as a community leader. It's challenging. As a community leader, it's challenging. I was telling someone we're working to partner together this year and next year. She has a nonprofit for single moms. And so when 2023 comes, we're going to host their entire community to come down to the Momathon conference, right? As we're doing all of this and we're having these conversations and talking, I told us I would really love to have you this year. You tell me what we need to do to make this happen. And so we're going back and forth. I said, what I really need from you, okay, this is creating different results. What I really need from you is your willingness and your availability. Are you willing to make the trip? And are you available? Do you have something else that weekend that you're committed to? She said, no. I said, okay, bet. All these other details we can work out. Now, here's where I struggle. The more awareness that I have, the more awareness that I teach my clients to have, okay? The more awareness I'm teaching you guys to have. When I say, okay, we got to make intentional decisions. We have to decide what we want because no one else can give you what you desire, what you're dreaming of. No one else can give you that. Hey, lady. Nobody else can offer this to you. And so what we end up doing over time is we're expecting somebody else to come and give us a different result. No, it's up to you to do corrective action, to make decisions that align with the woman God has put in your heart to be. And so many of us, we're on autopilot. We're coasting. We're out here hoping for the best. Somebody asks you, what do you want? You say you don't know. What's next for you? You don't know. Do you want to do this? I don't know. I'm like, oh, okay. It's hard for people. Listen to me. It is hard for people to support you. It is hard for people to champion for you. It is hard for people to introduce you to that next person, seat you in at the table, give you open doors, give you support. There have been multiple organizations this week alone who have said, how much will it cost to fund your vision? Now, I've heard through the grapevine that this exists, Heather. I heard through the grapevine. Never experienced it myself. But I see, we're going into year 7 of the conference. I see year 10. I already see it. I already know what's coming, right? I never thought, but if you have not sat down and done that inner work, how do people help you? How do people support a vision that doesn't exist, that you haven't put any elbow grease into? You haven't made any decisions about. You haven't made any decisions about it. You want people to support the business that you don't even put on social media. You want people to show up and put you in places and give you opportunities and support things that you yourself aren't even supporting. When will we take responsibility for having a different result? When will we be okay with having different results? Doing the work, waving the flag and saying, hey, I'm here. This is all we do. This is it. For me personally, all I work with are busy moms. That's it. That's it. Mamas who are doing the most. Powerful women, ambitious women who are like, I know I want it all. I just got to figure out what we moving around to get it. I know my work, my mission, my project, my passion in a different. I already know that. I already know it's for me. Now I got to figure out how and when to do. But some of us, we're so indecisive. It is holding us back. It's keeping us stuck when we don't have to be. We don't have to be. It's okay if you get coaching support, if you take a course. It's okay if you have to tap it out. That's okay. But what we cannot do, right? What we can't do is be frustrated or upset when other people are not supporting or championing for us when we ourselves are not doing it. You are in charge of your results. God gave you a dream in your heart, passion in your heart, purpose, mission, big ideas that are supposed to change the world. They're supposed to change the world. I will continue to stand here and hold space for your ideas because I have these clients, y'all, and they're like, listen, this is what I want to do. And I'm like, you do know this is going to literally change the world. Literally. So now we got to make intentional decisions surrounding it. I'm in charge of my own results. God can meet me, right? He is meeting in this moment. In this exact moment, he is hooking your girl up right now. But I had to have something. The Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. Plain, simple, easy to read. So that the person that reads it can continue forward, can continue to run. But how hard is it for people to come in and engage and support and cheer for you and champion for you? I cannot want anything for you more than you want it for you. As a coach, when my girls, they come, listen, this is what my goal is. One of my ladies, she's watching tonight. And as we had our call this past week, I said, now we got to set new goals for you. I said, because the goals that you wanted to accomplish, we're checking off. Others of my ladies, they're like, hey, I no longer have the mental stuckness, the mental feel like I'm tangled up in my own mind. Now I can unpack and I know where I'm going, straight ahead. And so I found across the board, nobody else can be more passionate and excited. Like when she gave me her good news, I was jumping up and down in my own house. I was like, yes, thank you, Lord. Like I was excited when they have wins, when y'all have wins. I'm just as excited as you guys are because I'm like, listen, I'm here for it. I'm grateful I get to be a part of this process. But I cannot and will not, for example, drive to her house. I will not drive to her house and get on her keyboard to submit her for opportunities. I'll help you be prepared to go get it. I'll help show you what your stuff needs to look like. We can go through all these things. I have multiple clients who are working on books, who are working on big ideas, launching speaking businesses, all this kind of stuff. It's like, hey, listen, this is what you need to do. Boom, boom, boom. All the places y'all see me talking and speaking, very few people ever ask me for a media kit. Very few. Your receipts matter. What you put out in the world matters. Your consistency matters. How you build relationships matter. But nobody else can be more excited about your thing than you're excited about your thing. And some of us, we want other people to be in charge of our results instead of us. I see so many posts on social media talking about they and them and who didn't see you and who's hating on you and all that. I'm sorry, we just don't have time for this. We don't have time to talk about they and them. Who are they? I am very sure there's somebody out there now like Christina, always on live, running her mouth. I don't even know who the person is. I don't even know. Tracy said, they and them ain't me. I don't even know who these people are. I'm sure there's somebody out here that Christina thinks she's cute. I do. I don't even know who they are. So some of us, we are so hung up, like Tracy said, on they and them. And I don't want to put my stuff out here because of they and them. And I don't want to do such stuff because of they and them. And we are so hung up on other people that we're literally giving them the permission slip to our own results. We're giving our permission slip away. No. You're in charge. You write the vision. You make it plain so you can run. We don't have time for this. We don't have time to go wishy-washy. We don't have time to go back and forth about, will this work? Will it not work? It's going to work. Now I need to figure out, how is it going to work? What do I need to change? What do I need to do differently? How do I need to pivot a little bit? Do I need to adjust my style? Do I need to adjust how I pitch? Do I need to adjust what I did? I talk about essence all the time because it's one of the biggest things I got multiple no's for before I got the yes. Y'all thought they looked me up and said, oh, wow, she's just so amazing. No, I had to pitch for that opportunity. And so some of us, we are giving other people the opportunity to be in charge of our results. And we want other people to champion for us in ways we are unwilling to do ourselves. If you're going to have a killer week this week, if you're going to show up and deliver and slay and give us all the smoke and all the magic, if you're going to be a bomb wife and an incredible mom, if you're going to just deliver the best of yourself into the world this week, you are in charge of what comes out of it. Yeah, there's some things that you can't control. There's a lot of things that are out of our control that we can't fix. But most of it, we have the ability to see something different happen. So you're in charge of your responses, number one. Number two, you're in charge of your results. Can we agree as a community tonight, everybody that's watching, can we agree as a community tonight that we are going to engage with our results whenever we see something going a way that we don't like? Whenever we feel our emotions, our mind going a place that we don't want it to go, I will be willing to take swift corrective action. Swift action, say, no, 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 I can change that. I believe it's Grant Cardone in the 10X rule. He talks about different types of action. He says that you can regress. Okay, you can have regressive action where you were making progress and now you just start stepping back and saying thanks, but no thanks. Hey, Lude. Thanks, but no thanks. I'm going to step back. You can have being still. Being still is still action. You just ain't doing nothing. Then you can have average action, which is what most of the world does. I'm just going to take some steps, some progress, right? I'm going to do something today. You know, the thought pattern, do something every day towards your goal. It's progress. It's action, but it's just average action. Let's be okay with that. Let's own it. Some days that's all the best you got is average action. Some days it's who I did with the dog today. That's the workout for the day. That's average action. Then there are other days, like this morning, I was up at 5:30, sipped coffee until 6, and then put my tennis shoes on. It was in my room, trying to be quiet so the rest of the house didn't wake up, and got 45 minutes of heavy weights in. There's these different types of action. Different types of action. You can move backwards, you can stay still, you can take average action, or you can take exponential action, where you run like a mad woman towards the life of your dreams. I want to be an exponential action taker. I want to be a woman that I wake up in the morning, even if the exponential action is getting all my kids' homeschooling done, right? My house isn't like a tornado. Okay. I worked on my business. I did married things with my husband. Y'all know the things. This is exponential action on a day. Man, I did everything that was on my list. Some days I write that down too. I'm like, yep, 10 p.m. Check, check, check. Like it'll all be on the list. I did everything. And some days the wins are different. Okay. Some days the wins are different, but I want to be the person that takes exponential action towards my goal. I don't want to sleep my way. I don't want to be in default zone, right? Just coasting my way, autopilot into my next. How do you even get to the next? Like on an escalator, like just they call it the default future. It's the future that's coming if you make no changes. We are here in this space to cancel out your default future. Come on, somebody. We are here in this space to help you craft and create the results needed to get the future God has for you. Can you see it? Do you feel it? Is it tangible to you yet? Maybe not, but it's going to be. It's going to be. So we get to choose our responses. We get to choose our results. And last but not least, you get to choose your resilience. One of our ladies, she's usually here listening in, Janisha. We have talked over and over again about the power of being resilient. Okay. Resilience. Let me see if I can just look up the definition. Hold on, guys. Just because. Resilience is the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, toughness, the ability of a substance or object or woman to spring back into shape, elasticity. Okay. This is the ability of you and I that when life stretches us, we are able to come and coil back together with a mindset that I'm still going to keep on going. Even though life is pulling me, even though I'm not sure about all of these different outcomes, even though I'm not sure how everything is going to come together, even though I'm not sure about what the result is going to be, I'm still resilient. I'm still going to be able to keep applying myself to come back to it again. The fact that we're going into year 7 of the conference is resiliency. The fact that you're here standing, even if only non-literally, figuratively, you're standing where you are is because of resilience. The fact that you have the dream, even when you might have felt like it should be snuffed out, is resilience. The fact that we can have conversations like this after fooling around with kids all day and working 9 to 5s and working on our business after 5 and all of these things is resilience. It is indeed the capacity to come back to it and be tough, even when life is hard, even when you're not sure what's happening next and how it's going to happen and when it's going to happen. The ability to be able to come back to it again and again. And I got to tell you guys, there will be days where you get no. There'll be days when you feel like it's not for you. There'll be days when you feel like I don't have it in me. There will be days when you feel like you're not enough. What are you going to do then? How are you going to shift your mind then? How are you going to change the pathway then? Are you going to go back into the default future? Are you going to coast back into regressive action? Regressive action has got to be the worst kind. You want to say being stuck and still in one place is the worst kind of action. But I got to say, like, knowing something's for you and then you turn around and go the opposite way has got to be the worst kind of action. That's like being Jonah. You know what I'm saying? Jonah didn't just say no, God, and go eat. Jonah went and got on a boat to go to the opposite side of where God said go. I mean, it's got to be a stretch. The idea that I can actually go the opposite direction of what God is telling me to do. Matthias says returning to the comfort zone. And then beyond that, determining that the comfort zone is almost lying to yourself and saying the comfort zone is where you're supposed to be, not because it's comfortable, but that's just your lot in life. Like, this is just where I'm supposed to be. This is just my life. What a sorrow to say to yourself, whether through your words, your thoughts, or your actions, this is the best that it gets. I can see this as a vision. I see it, but I really feel like this is the best it gets. To let my actions be the determinant. This is as good as it gets. Whatever's happening in my life right now, whatever results I'm experiencing, I can't change that. This is just the way it is. And I tell my husband all the time, this is just something we say to each other, that all God needs is a willing heart and somebody that's willing to take a step forward. Like, what's your step forward going to be? And so, for everybody that is walking into this new week, you got a lot on your plate, it's overflowing, and you're like, okay, Chris, I hear you. You're allowed to respond differently and choose what you'll do and what you will not do. You are allowed to choose your results. If you see something coming that is not in your favor, that is not, I'm not saying the man of your dreams and then you found out he married. That's not what we're talking about. Okay. We're talking about how I am, for example, let's say you're looking for a job. Okay. You haven't been hired and you're wondering why, you're not sure what's going on. Instead of you continue to say and blame the job market, even though you see 100 job postings online, you blame the interviewers, right, for the reason you're not getting to the next step. Instead of saying, hey, maybe I need to talk to somebody about what my resume looks like. Maybe I need to talk to somebody about my interview skills. Maybe I need to start networking with other people and going to places where folks who are hirers and interviewers are going to be. So we end up staying in this one pocket, this one place, this one time, and we feel like this is just our assignment. This is just where I have to be. Okay. And so, what I want us to remember instead is you can choose your response, you can choose your results, and you can choose how resilient you are. Your willingness to come back to it again, whatever your it is. There are some places where the Bible is like super general, and it's like, whosoever, a certain man, a certain woman. There's no name. You stick your name in there. I'm a who. There's a song at my old church at home. I'm a whosoever, and I can have whatever he says I can have. Like I'm included in this number. In Proverbs and Psalms, they talk about if you bring it to, he'll establish it. They don't say what the it is. They just say your plan. He will establish it. But some of us, we are waiting for someone else to give us the permission slip for our it. Some of us, we're not even sure what it is, and that's okay. Some of us have started our it and we didn't get the results we wanted, so we're afraid to go back again. Some of us need support with our it because our minds are racing so and our schedules are racing so that we're not sure if we're coming or going. Our own emotions are keeping us at a standstill. Our mind is keeping us at a standstill. Our fear of rejection keeping us at a standstill. All of these things can be a part of the game. And so, what we want to do instead is make the shift towards exponential action by choosing a different result. What God has for you is for you, but He's not going to drop it off at your door. What God has for you is for you, but He is not going to FedEx it to your doorway. You have to take a step forward. I was listening to TD Jakes the other day, probably yesterday. It was like just a motivational get your mind right for the day video, right? And it was like God didn't make trees. I mean, God made trees, he did not make chairs and tables and everything else. And so he said, God, what did you give me that you didn't give all of other creation? He said, I gave you a brain. The ability, the capacity to make choices and decide and make intentional movement forward. But he said the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Or tonight, we're going to say a good woman are ordered by the Lord. But in order to get ordered, God got to have some steps to work with. The steps of a good woman are ordered by the Lord. He's crafting your path even now, but you have to take some steps forward in order for this to happen, in order to see results, in order for people to sow into your vision and bless you and say, oh my gosh, I know somebody who needs that. There are some people that never have partnered with me as a coach, right? But they're like, hey, I know somebody. She's an overwhelmed mom. She needs support. She got big dreams, but she's too under piles of laundry and lack of boundaries and doing everything for everybody else. She can't see her way to this other great stuff. And I see what you're doing, but you got a million kids. I just need to find out if you can help her. I've had people barter with me for services for a family member. Will you just do a call with her because she needs support? That wasn't for them directly, but because I'm not ashamed of what I do, and I know what my superpower is. Do you know what your superpower is? Are you aware of how your goals and your superpowers come together? Are you willing to say, yes, Lord, I will go, and then raise your hand and be that person? These are the places where we create a different result. These are the places where the default future that was coming to me is no longer coming because I've made intentional, exponential action to go a different way. I'm not going to let my mind hit me up. I'm not going to let my emotions, positive emotions, negative emotions. Sometimes we only want to take action when we're experiencing positive emotions. I understand, but no more. Sometimes we only want to take action when we feel good about what the circumstance is. No, we cannot stay here in a place where we only implement when we feel good. We're only intentional when we feel good. It doesn't work. It doesn't serve us. You're allowed to create different results by choosing different action. And if the action that you're taking now is not changing your trajectory, then that's where we got to get into the work. That's where we got to start asking different questions. That's what we have to coach through. Okay, is this working? Is it not working? Why not? Why are you still doing that? Why is this the go-to habit for you? Why do you wave the white flag when it gets hard? Let's talk about that. And then we're going to remove the possibility of quitting and work through it to the end of the goal. Okay? And so as we go into our week today, I'm about to go sit down and relax with my family soon. As we are moving into a new week, I want to remind you, you are able to choose how you respond to situations, to say yes or no, but to stop with this maybe stuff. To make intentional decisions, say, yes, that'll work, or no, that won't work. And then make a decision about it. To create different results, that my actions will take me out of autopilot, default future, and put me into the future I really want to be. And then I get to choose my resilience. I'm allowed to determine, okay, this kicked me down for a second, but I'm going to get back up. I don't like the way this is going. I get to choose something different. Okay, this doesn't seem like it's working, but I know I can make it work. So let me hammer this thing out. Okay, let me pivot. Let me change the direction that I'm going by choosing life and choosing action that is intentionally moving me forward. Okay. So as we wrap up, 2 announcements. Announcement number 1 is Mamathon Conference, October 28th through the 30th in Atlanta, Georgia. If you are an ambitious, superstar, multitasking woman who loves God and you're about that business, if you want to move to the next level in your life, connect with boss women, network, work on your wellness, self-care, balancing family, what else? Getting your purpose and your profits intertwined. We got the Brilliance Brunch where we're doing jewel tone outfits, photo shoot on Sunday. We're going to feed you. There's a concert. Like, it's a whole vibe. Like, all of this is happening in these couple of days. And I'm excited, and I hope y'all are excited. And I'm going to see Lou and Atanya and Tracy there and a whole bunch of other incredible women who are about that life. You are about that life, and you're excited about what God is doing in your life. And you know that moving from where you are to where you're going actually requires you to go places. It actually does. It actually does. So I look forward to seeing you guys in Atlanta. If you need support from me in some kind of way, you need a roommate or whatever, ask Lude. I was like, listen, we'll find somebody to come stay with you. Like, what do we need to do to make it possible for you to attend? But one thing I cannot do is come to your house and pick you up. I cannot make you available, and I cannot make you willing. Two things I cannot do. So I'd always do my due diligence to invite and remind and say, okay, listen, this is happening. And then everybody watch the thread. Everybody, after the conference is over, oh my gosh, I wish I was. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Don't worry about it. These connections have been life changing. Life changing. One of our ladies met somebody else at the conference. She was a new realtor just starting out. Met one of our ladies. Tracy, you know I'm telling the truth. One of our ladies went and decided she was going to buy a mega property, like acres and acres of land. Y'all hear me? And she went to the sister that she met at the conference to help her buy that property. And it was like, oh, I said, wait, you hired so-and-so? She's like, yeah, she was my realtor. I was like, get your money. You hear me? I don't think I've reached out to her to tell her, you better get your money, boo. Like, do that thing. Relationships are everything. Oh, let me tell y'all. And I told Tracy too, because this is exciting. This is why relationships matter. Okay. I have a mentee who works at a extremely popular athletic company. Y'all know the company. Exceptionally popular athletic company. Starts with an N, ends with Ike. She reaches out to me for coaching, right? Reaches out to me for coaching. She's an executive, high-powered sis, killing the game. And I was like, well, to be honest with you, at this time, I'm not working with women who are not moms, you know? I said, but I would happily keep you on as a mentee. Like, if you need anything from me, if you have questions from me, if there's anything I can position in front of you that you need support with, you just, work-life balance and all this stuff, I'm here to help support you. Like, I'm fine with that. So every single month, we hop on a Zoom call, right? Every month we hop on a Zoom call. We touch base. We talk about what's new, all of these things. We do this every month. And so I did this with no expectations. I just said, hey, listen, when it's time and you guys are looking for presenters, coaches, wellness, whatever, I was like, holla at your girl. I was like, but in the meantime, until that time, I'm happy to be here with you and just be a mentor to you. And so this past time we got on the phone, she said, listen, I had just joined the Black Employee Network for this particular organization. And she went quickly from, hey, I joined as a volunteer to being one of the co-leads for all of the Black employees at this athletic company. So she said, so that means when it's time, she said, we're finishing out this series of training. She said, but when it comes time in the next several months, she said, I'm going to be reaching out to you because I know you're all things work-life balance. I know you're everything parenting and da-da-da. She said, in fact, send me some information about your conference and I'm going to put it in the Black parents thread for the organization. Now, let's get something clear. When I get to put the swish on my speaker sheet, I was excited about Essence, right? Like, I was excited about Essence, but this is like the next, closest thing. When we put the swish on our speaker sheet, here's the point I'm trying to make. Relationships change the game. But what we do a lot of times is we skip over how the kingdom of God works. If you just look at kingdom principle is there are many parts to the body, okay? Many parts to the body, and every part plays a role. So here we are trying to just be the hand or the nose or an ear or whatever, and we skip over how necessary other people are in this goal. There's no way There's no way that I would be able to position like I was if I didn't have somebody in a relationship. I was in a relationship with. And I'm happy to talk to this girl for the next 2 years with no needs, no intentions, right? But when it's time, it's time. When it's time, it's time. And your willingness to take steps forward will determine when your time comes. Your willingness to be in position, your willingness to be available, your willingness to step forward will exponentially increase your time. Your willingness to get help, because getting help is humbling. Getting help is humbling. Getting support is humbling. Tanya said relationships are currency. Yeah. Having people around you to say, hey, here's a blind spot. That's all I do as a coach. I help y'all make decisions. I'm a listening ear. I help you to identify blind spots. Why is this holding us up? Let's talk through it. Let's make a decision about it. Even if this is how we feel, that's okay, but let's move around it. Okay? That's all I do as a coach. But it's life transformational. It's transformational. It's transformational. Changes your life because you're no longer sitting in the blind spot. Now I can move forward. I can move past this hurdle. Okay. So as we wrap up for tonight, I'm going to go drink me some tea and just be at peace. I just want to remind you guys that you get to choose different this week. Okay. So conference, end of this month, we're like under 3 weeks away. So if you come in, I mean, you need to make some decisions now. Okay. You need to make some decisions. October 28th through the 30th in Atlanta. We cannot wait to see you, meet you. There's a whole lot of ladies that I've been connecting with on social media and coaching with and everything for the last 2 years, 3 years that I get to hug in person this year. So my heart is just going to burst. Okay. Like just absolute burst. I will probably cry. Just work with me. So that's number one. And then number two, I'm already prayerfully preparing how we're going to serve you guys in 2023. So there are some clients who are watching tonight, some ladies watching tonight that I'm going to be connecting with about working with me in the new year. But I want to be able to prepare you guys for walking with me through 2023. Okay. If you know that the things we're sharing here resonate with you, if you know that it's time to make some significant moves forward and you're tired of being hung up on the same hurdles over and over again, if that's you, then let's talk about it now so we can kick off in January like a whole boss, okay? Whole boss, like really making the intentional steps forward. If what I've shared has resonated with you, then I want you to slide in my messenger. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about coaching. Let's talk about moving to the next level in your business, in your family, your self-care, your wellness, your time management, getting your awesomeness, your mission positioned for greatness. Some things are happening this year that I never would have. I mean, you heard about it. Like things you heard about where people say, hey, let me write you a check for your vision. How much? And you like, let me go write something up real quick. How do I support you? Oh my gosh. And so moving into this place where I see the conference going and our coaching community going, everywhere this is going in the next year, I'm like, okay, God, we're here for it. So I'm excited to support you guys in 2023. If you know that this is for you, you worked with me before, you're like, I want to do it again. You haven't worked with me, but you're like, okay, I'm ready and I want to talk about it. Let's talk about it now in October. So when January comes, we hit the ground running. Okay. All right. I'm excited. I want to see y'all at the conference. I love y'all so much. Ticket sales stop October 12th. Do not play with me. Do not test God and test my gangster. Okay. Because I will be like, what you want me to do? All right. I love y'all. We'll see y'all next time. I'm excited to support you all as you do the absolute most in the coming year. All right. We'll see you guys later.